And you are ready to go.
Thank you very much. Good morning and welcome to the State and Local Government Committee meeting. This morning we have two public hearings. I'd like to start with introductions so we can determine a quorum. First, Senator Rosen, please, if you could introduce yourself.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Kimberly Rosen. I have Senate District 8. My district consists of Bucksport, Castine, Dedham, Great Pond, Orland, Penobscot, Verona Island, Bradley, Brewer, Clifton, Eddington, Holden, Lincoln, Burlington, Lowell, and Orrington, and 4 unorganized territories in Hancock and Penobscot counties. I may not get to say that again. Too many more.
So you need to do that.
To say all my towns. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Representative Bryant.
Madam Chair, welcome all. I'm Mark Bryant from Wyndham. I represent House District 24, part of the town of Wyndham. Good morning.
Good morning. Representative Copeland.
Good morning. My name is Lynn Copeland, and I'm proud to represent the folks in what is currently House District 14, which is coastal and downtown Saco. Welcome.
Wonderful. Representative Downs.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Kathy Downs. I represent District 130, which is Bucksport and Orrington. Welcome all.
Thank you. Representative Greenwood.
Good morning and thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Randy Greenwood. I represent House District 82, which are the towns of Litchfield, Monmouth, and my hometown of Wales in both Androscoggin and Kennebec counties.
Thank you. Is Representative Reisman with us this morning?
Yeah,
yes, there he is.
Yes, I'm right here. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm Representative Walter Reisman. I live in Harrison, Maine, and I proudly represent District 69, which is Bridgeton, Harrison, and Denmark, and includes 2 counties.
Thank you. And Representative Toole.
Good morning. I'm Representative Will Toole. I represent the communities of Cutler, East Machias, East Fort, Lubec, Machias, Machiasport, Roquelaure, Whiting, and Trescott. And I don't know if that'll be the last time I get to say that, but it'll be one of the last times as we're redistricting as well. But nonetheless, it's a pleasure to be with you all this morning and represent the folks in outgoing House District 139.
And good morning to you too, sir. And we are assisted by our committee clerk, Cheryl McGowan, and by our analyst, our OPLA analyst, Lynn Caswell. And I'm Representative Ann Matlack. I represent House District 92, which is Cushing, Thomaston, South Thomaston, St. George, Matinicus, Creehaven, and the Muscle Ridge Islands. And I serve as the House co-chair for this committee. As I mentioned this morning, we're going to be having 2 public hearings, one on LD 1975, an act concerning winter maintenance on private roads in the town of Wyndham, and LD 2002, an act to eliminate inactive boards and commissions. This meeting is currently being live streamed on the committee's YouTube channel. This means that anyone who is a participant in the meeting via Zoom can be seen and also heard if their microphone is unmuted. People on the Zoom meeting waiting to testify cannot be seen or heard until they're called upon to speak. This meeting will be recorded and available to view on the committee's YouTube channel soon after this meeting has concluded. So let's get started with LD 1975. This bill is, let me see, who's this? Oh, Representative Bryant, is this your bill?
Yes, actually, at the moment it is the committee's bill. As
yes.
You know, we if you could bring up the town manager and
okay.
Who those representatives are while we're speaking, that'd be helpful.
Perfect.
Very typical.
If we could, yes, if we could bring up Mr. Cardoza and Ms. Tibbetts, that'd be great. But this is a committee bill. This was based on a bill that we heard last session. And this is to allow the town of Wyndham to continue working on their private roads in an effort to establish public easements and also a regular system for maintaining the roads that is not town financed, I believe. Let me see. Do we have Mr. Tibbetts?
Yes, I'm on.
Good morning, Mr. Tibbetts, and welcome to State and Local Government. Do you have testimony for us this morning?
Yes, I do, Chairman Matlick. Thank you very much. And thank you, committee, for allowing the town of Wyndham to speak. I did forward some written testimony, which you should have, along with some proposed amendments to LD 1975 for your consideration. Basically, I'll give you a quick summary of that. There's basically three things. One is what we'd like to see in this bill is the language was slightly modified to include all private ways, and we do not want to include all private ways. Only the private ways that we have designated, the 101 roads. We don't want to do this for all private ways in town. That's going to get me in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
So
okay.
if we could flip that back, that would be fabulous. The second thing is in the proposed amendment we'd like is that we would be able to keep sections 2, 3, and 4, which we originally put in. This really allows us to work with those different road associations under our ordinance very clearly. And I do have in that amendment, we had asked for in sections 2, 3, and 4 about the public easements for these different road associations to be at 51%. And the reason for that is that currently under Maine law, if you have a road association and they make a determination to do something, they only need 51%. So we're just trying to mirror that level. I will say we just had a meeting within the last 2 weeks with probably, I'm going to say 7 or 8 different road associations came in with our attorney. We spent all afternoon going through all the different particular challenges that they had. And they're all very positive about this. We're not getting any negativity from any residents at any level. So we're really pretty pleased about where we're at. We're just hoping that we can tie up these last 2 or 3 items. And then the last item that we're asking for as part of an amendment to LD 1975 is that we just want to do this once. I don't want to come back and report to the legislature again. I mean, I love to see you all, but I think I can close this thing out. If you can give me the 2 years, I'll have this done and we can move on. I mean, the one road that I'll be very, upfront, the one road that we, there's probably 50 houses on, and I don't know why the town started this about 7 years ago, started plowing them. I met with the leaders of that private group for the road association. I told them, I says, listen, under our current law, I says, I won't be able to continue our practice with you. And I thought I was going to have a really hard meeting, and turned out it went extremely well. He understood completely. He said, I completely get it, Barry. He said, the town's been very gracious to help us. We really appreciate it. We're going to line up our own people to do this. And we understand we don't got 20 years. We don't meet the criteria that you've got before the SLG committee. So he said, we're fine with it. So it goes back to what I said earlier. I really have very positive feedback from my residents on this private and special law. And I'm hoping that these amendments you would consider so we can move this forward and I can straighten this problem out here in Wyndham. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Tibbetts this morning? Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Tibbetts, for joining us this morning. I guess a couple of things. The 51% is, if you're not getting any resistance to what's being proposed, how much resistance have you had? I mean, you must have had some. Or would you care to put a number on that?
The only negative comments that I picked up was at a public hearing that we had in December, on the 7th of December. And it was 2 gentlemen, particularly on their private road. And their concern was, once we do this public easement, anyone can drive down our road. And I said, that is true. And I said, that absolutely is what would happen. But I said, and my take back to them was, well, right now it's posted as a private road. You got a private road sign. I said, people drive down it anyway, right? He said, absolutely. And I said, so, you're not, it actually gives us a little bit more authority to help you by putting a public easement in there than not having it. But that's really the only two, there were two different roads. They both brought that up and they both seemed reconciled that this was a good thing for their road. They wanted to keep the plowing. So I don't have people, road associations that have come in and said, we are absolutely not going to do this. We're going to fight you all the way. Honestly, I've had nobody bring that position before either my office or any of my staff. And it's to the best of my knowledge, all the counselors have not received any emails to that effect or calls because they would have alerted me, Representative Tooley.
No, and I appreciate that. I ask it because I know there is some concerned about if it's a 51 to 49 split on one of these roads, that is hardly a mandate to, I mean, that's hardly you get what I'm trying to say, a reason, a mandate at the local level for moving ahead. Whereas if it was something like, I don't know, 66% or something like that, that you would have an overwhelming support. But yeah, I guess that's where I'm going with that is when these roads, when you work with these associations, they vote. There haven't been any that have there haven't been any that have said no.
Correct.
Okay.
Every one of them have said, yes, we want to be part of this solution. They want to do it.
So with that, do you have a problem with having a higher threshold or not?
I like to be consistent with what other things are existing laws that are out there. I mean, I have not spoken with every single road association. We've really focused on the road associations that have come forward. There's some that I haven't talked with, but I just don't want to box myself into a corner and run into it. And perhaps my attorney, Kristen Collins, might be able to share a little bit more on that too. I like having flexibility to be able to close it out.
I understand that. And my other question was more along the lines of the 2 years versus a 1 year extension. And as you know, this is a private and special law and nobody likes to keep coming back to the committee every year. But, you know, on the other hand, do you think it's a good idea to keep updating the committee and make sure that people realize that this is not just a short run, that we're not going to just keep kicking the can down the road, for lack of a better phrase? And I know you're not, it's just, do you think coming back every year has its advantages?
I really think that, you know, the people that I've talked to one-on-one, they kind of, the approach that I've been sharing with them is that we want to just fix this problem for once and not have to go back and reestablish and go back with new additional laws. I mean, I'm perfectly pleased to provide an updated report on where I'm at next year to you. But what I'd like to do is that once the law is enacted, that I don't have to then go and look at this in 5 years and talk to all the residents again and reinitiate new signatures and all that, because that's just extra work that I don't think is really necessary. I'd like to be able to tie it off and then just leave it moving forward, because there is always the option, Representative Tooley, if let's just say a road says, and we have this in our ordinance, that if a road wanted to change their mind, all they have to do is just have a vote of 51% and say, we don't want the town to plow anymore, and we're done with it. We walk away from it. So they have an easy out just as much as an easy in. It balances itself.
Okay, I got you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I applaud all the work that you've done on this, and I'm in favor of this, all these details and so forth. I think everything's coming together really nicely. But the initial concern that I have remains. So I hear you saying that the people that you talk to and you've gotten to some associations, I'm concerned about each and every one. I think that this is real estate. This is like a, and I'm sure that Kristen Collins, who is eminently able to weigh in on this, but when you're talking about real estate and property rights, and I understand we're going outside and we're going to say, this is special, we're going to do this here. My concern is notice that every single owner gets notice, whether it's a certified letter that goes out or, you know, some kind of affirmative action from the owners. You know, maybe not all the ones that you've heard from already and have weighed in, but the people who aren't in Maine, who, you know, obviously we're all involved in politics and we're all involved in different ways, but there are a lot of people who aren't involved and who don't care about any of this and just want to go up to their camp.
Yep.
So real estate has a very special thing about notice, and I don't think that we should exempt that from this at all. I think that all these great comings together and all this work on getting what's going to happen is fabulous. And I'm all for that. My only issue is notice to every single, and it doesn't mean that they have to acknowledge it. It just means that you have sent it. So
Is there
maybe a
question in here?
certificate. So yeah, my question is to Kristen Collins.
We're talking with Mr. Tibbetts right this second. He's testifying right now. So if you have a concern with regard to Mr. Tibbetts, he could answer that question. We'll get Ms. Collins to testify next.
If I may, Representative Copeland, that's a great concern and a great question. We did send out over 2,100 letters to every single abutter. And we even had some owners, property owners. I remember my executive assistant telling me some letters were going over to Europe, one in England, and I think there was another one somewhere in France. And so we made sure that we sent out a letter to every single person who owns property that abuts one of these 101 private ways. And then we also have had several agenda items for public hearings, public discussions, and we've done some local reporting in the paper. We've really worked hard to be transparent on this because I took that to heart when we first met, that you had said, you got to make sure, Barry, you cover everything. And I have to be honest with you, I cringed a little bit because I said to myself, I went back to my staff and I says, I got to send out 2,000 letters. And I says, I'm not going to get anything done for 5 months. I said, we're going to be swamped. And God, knock on wood, God bless. It really was totally different. I didn't have the people coming in screaming and yelling. Many people came and said, I'm really glad that someone's finally addressing this issue in Wyndham. It's been so positive. I'm knock on wood, I'm still really happy about it. So I really feel we've worked hard to be transparent. And we'll continue to do that. I can continue to put this in the paper and on the agenda for council comments and hearings as necessary, but I really feel I've nailed that correctly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. Do we have any further questions for Mr. Tibbetts? There being none, thank you very much for coming this morning, sir, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the workshop. Please stick around for a little bit if you like. Next, we have Margaret Carzoza from Wyndham, who is here to testify on this matter. Ms. Cardoza, are you with us? Hello? I believe we can hear you, but ooh.
Hello?
Oh, your connection is very bad, madam. It's very, very broken up. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Not well. Not well. Can you sign out and try again?
Can you hear me?
No, not really. No, we can hear your voice, but it's distorted.
Testing.
So could you log off and log back in again and see if you can get a better connection?
Very
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Ms. Collins, you hear this? Ms. Cardoza, could you log off? Okay. Thank you. Ms. Collins?
Thank you, Chair Matlack. Good morning, committee. So we have provided a draft proposed amendment. And as Mr. Tibbetts was testifying, the reason for that is predominantly to make sure we continue this construct of the designated private ways. That was a big piece of the former bill, and the town followed up on that with an ordinance which used the same term of a designated private way. And if you recall, that was a private way on which the town's performed maintenance for at least 20 years. And that doesn't meet the townway standards, so it could never be accepted as such. So we want to make sure that this is narrowed to exactly that category of roads. And that's why we've reintroduced that concept into our proposed amendment. And the other thing that our proposed amendment does is to just give us a flat extension of 2 years, during which period we can maintain these roads at town expense, whether we have those public easements or not. So that's the distinguishing feature between this bill as applies to Wyndham and general law. And after that 2-year period, general law would then apply, meaning if we don't have public easements for these roads, 100% of the roads, we are not going to be able to continue after that 2-year period. So this would give us the insulation to continue our current practice while we try to get this resolved over the next 2 years. And then after that, provided we have the 51% on these roads, again, limited category of roads, we can continue. And then for any of those roads that we don't, we frankly just have to stop plowing, and we're accepting of that. And so the idea would be not that we come back to this committee in a period of time and say, you know, we want an extension. We are coming before the committee today and giving ourselves a deadline of 2024, after which we will be done. To Representative Copeland's questions, I think the notice piece, perhaps maybe the thing to do there would be to require one last notice go out before October 1st, 2024, and notify the residents of any road that we've met that threshold of the 51% and are going to be continuing to perform the plowing pursuant to this law and town ordinance. And to Representative Toole's questions, I think the 51%, it's intended to basically allow leeway to those owners that we can't find, not necessarily to those owners who are opposed to this. So we're just purely recognizing the logistical challenges of these road associations going out and getting signatures from, you know, sometimes 100+ owners, some of which may be in trusts or estates, or they just don't even know who owns some of the land. Sometimes we, the town, don't know who owns some of the land. So it's to give us leeway there. So I think that we can go a little bit higher if the committee is interested in doing that and still be able to accomplish what we need to. We were kind of just, you know, following with recent private road enactments that give the majority of owners on that private road the ability to take some authority. And so that's why we chose the 51% in this case, but I think we could go a little higher. And then on the other end of that, we, you know, our proposed amendments would limit the range of roads that we're able to apply this to. So, you know, we were hoping that within that limited range of roads, the 51% may be more justifiable.
Thank you.
Because, sorry, just to finish that sentence, because we have actually, you know, created an interest in these roads over the 20 years. And so, you know, the 51% isn't necessarily creating anything new. It's only continuing a practice. So we are also not, by doing this, taking any interests, any ownership interest, any easement interest in those areas of road that people aren't giving us the public easement. So the way I would characterize it is not that we're taking a private interest, we are performing a public service. So we're not taking any rights away. We are traveling over that road and providing the service of plowing that road, and probably going between one public easement area and the other public easement area, even if we're going over the property of someone who has held out against giving us the public easement. I hope that made sense.
Yes, thank you. And for the record, could you please introduce yourself to the committee, please?
Kristen Collins, town attorney, and I'm at the firm Preddy Flaherty.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Do we have questions for Ms. Collins? Representative Bryant, did you have a question for Ms. Collins?
I'm not really sure. It might be for the analyst, but I don't see online anybody's testimonies to be able to follow all the amended version, and that's be helpful to the committee. I know that probably got a snow day Friday. They might have sent it in Thursday. They got a confirmation, but I wonder if it went to the right committee and where that is, so that our committee can see what the town is saying in writing.
Okay, thank you. And thank you very much for being here, Ms. Collins. Representative Toole, do you have a question for Ms. Collins?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I also want to say, I would second Representative Bryant's comment that hadn't seen any of the proposed amendments yet, although I think you folks have done a great job outlining them. So I'll be honest, with my biggest hesitancy at this point is we did this last year for 1 year. The town has made a lot of progress in that year. Do you think that if people have 2 years, do you think there'll be a tendency to use the full 2 years? Whereas if we say we're going to have to keep coming back to the legislature until this is done, or at least a couple more times, so we better get it done now. Do you think 1 year is better than 2 applying? Do you think that's a good logic to apply? If that makes any sense.
Yes.
That's Ms. Collins, yeah.
Yes. Our ordinance currently requires that the public easements be given by October 1st of 2022. So we are going to try to stick to that deadline for the same psychological reason that you mentioned. And if we have the leeway of 2024 as the deadline here, we'll keep an eye on things, but I don't envision us drastically extending our own internal deadline.
And I ask that because I would have no problem extending it through next winter, because we're going to be retiring here. We're going to be done here in about 6 weeks. If nothing happens, then you're not going to have anything past this year. So, but to give another year to let your local ordinance to play out, and to tell folks and to send out that another round of letters. Do you think that will galvanize people that haven't said, oh, they'll get around to us? Do you think that will galvanize people? And then if next year with that, if it's not done, the next legislature could always do another bill and extend 1 more year to finish up those that are not done. Do you think that's a better strategy or a good strategy to get this done? Obviously, it's in your ordinance, so you think there must be some value there.
Well, our ordinance was written and enacted based on the prior bill, which was only a 1-year extension. So again, we will stick with that, I think, as long as we can. I don't think there's a material difference. The reason we're asking for the 2 years is because we're anticipating just a few stragglers, and that gives us the leeway to do that without, again, having to come back to the legislature. So I'm not sure that a 1 year versus a 2 year makes a material difference on the logistical side of collecting everything, but it does seem to just encapsulate the amount of time that we think we'll need.
I see, thanks.
Lynn Caswell, you have a question or comment?
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I was going to respond to Representative Bryant's request and suggest that the town can upload their proposed amendment online as in a form of testimony, and then it will be available.
Thank you. No, we did do that as far as I know and got confirmation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. We'll keep an eye out, and if we have any concerns about getting it, we can distribute it in another way to the committee members. Do we have any? Oh, Ms. Cardoza, you're back with us. Thank you. Would you like to introduce yourself and provide us with your testimony, please? Ms. Cardoza? I know she was with us a little while ago, but oh, there you are.
Hello.
Good morning. Yes.
Testing, you can hear me?
I can hear
well?
you. If you'll introduce yourself, please, and provide us with your testimony.
Representative Madlock, members of the committee, my name is Margaret Cardoza. I am a resident of Portland and a taxpayer for Wyndham. I have a camp, and it's on a private way, which is our public easement, and thereby I am a member of a road association, a road commissioner, and treasurer for the road association. I'm in favor of the extension because just today, having by June 30th concluding this is not enough time for road associations to coordinate and get together. And I'm also in favor of this extension due to the prescriptive law and the tradition and custom that the town of Wyndham and owners on private ways have for so long been used to working with the town to assure during the summer the roads are repaired and allowing the plows to come through. And if you may have noticed in the news, one of my neighbors' homes had burnt down, and thank goodness that the roads were prepared to allow all the different fire trucks to get through, and everyone is okay. So the two amendments I have are regarding that 51%. If a road and the landowners vote in favor of having a road association, that is under Title 23-3101, that it is decided by a majority, 51%. I understood this committee was a little uncomfortable about 50 or 51%. I know that 2/3 vote would be more helpful. If that is a concern, that may be up to you. But consistently under Title 23-3101, it does say majority, which is 51. Of the 101 roads, there are 41 roads that still need to decide on forming a road association. So I would request if the amendment be including, if it's to the pleasure of this committee to have 51%, that you have it with a road association's vote for the public easement to allow the towns, or you may. I'm flexible. You can do 2/3, but there's such a dependency between the relationship of the property owners and the town, as it's been shared, there is desperately a need to continue on our tradition. The other issue that was not discussed, but probably might be a concern, is the definition of public easement. There was no definitions included in either the town or this bill, and I would like to see Title 29A, Section 101, subsection 42 included, so that the definition is clearly about people who are walking on these roads or driving on these roads. Because as you know, ATVs can really tear up a road, and as mud season's getting ready, that's a really big expense for us to repair our roads. So I just want to conclude with, yes, I'm in favor of the extension of time, and that if the 51% decided by the road association to allow the town to plow would be easier to obtain a decision, and then the concern of the definition of public easements be included. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Cardoza. Do we have any questions for Ms. Cardoza this morning? Seeing none. Representative Toole, did you have a question?
No, I did not. Thank you, Madam
Okay,
Chair.
okay.
I thought somebody had their hand up.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Cardoza, for coming and giving testimony here this morning. We appreciate your input. Are there any other questions or comments? Is there information we need from Lynn Caswell? Lynn? Oh, also, I believe Cheryl mentioned that the amendments are included in Mr. Tibbetts' testimony. So if you're looking for the amendments to the bill, that's where you can find them.
And the ones that Ms. Cardoza was talking about, those are in both of her testimonies as well.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Representative Lynn, you had your hand up. Did you have a question or? No? Okay.
Me?
Representative Copeland?
Yes, hi. Thank you, Madam Chair. She brought up a good point about those, the ATVs or whatever wrecking a road. And, you know, since we're making this a special thing that only applies to them, maybe we could carve out that non-landowners can't drive ATVs on these particular public easements.
That can be something that's discussed, and if the folks from Wyndham are interested, we could discuss that at our work session. That might be something to discuss.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions or comments or information that you would like to receive during our work session that's coming up? Seeing none, thank you all so very much for coming by this morning. And we look forward to seeing you at the work session. Thank you. Close the public hearing on LD 1975, and we'll open a public hearing on LD 2002, an act to eliminate inactive boards and commissions. Let me see, we have several folks who are here to testify. Let's see.
Should be
There we
Ben
are.
Goodman, Casey Cole, Chris Gill, and Don Flannery.
Please, if you could bring them over, that would be great.
Sure, and I think Don Flannery is the only one in favor. So I'll bring him first.
Ah, okay. Do we have anybody from the governor's office? I understand they had some input, but
nobody in the attendee list.
okay, thank you.
I know that Nancy McBrady sent in a testimony. I saw that this morning.
Okay, thank you. So let me see. In favor, Mr. Flannery, Welcome to state and local government this morning. If you could introduce yourself to us, and if you could provide your testimony, that would be appreciated.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Representative Matlack and other members of the State and Local Government Committee. I'm Don Flannery, Executive Director of the Maine Potato Board, and here to testify in favor of the bill, particularly the part referring to the Potato Market Improvement Fund Committee. The Potato Market Improvement Fund is a very successful program and has been the backbone of our industry since the early 80s. And the function of that program is to make loans to potato farmers for the construction, retrofitting of packing sheds, loading sheds, and that sort of thing. And by the nature of it, we administer the program at the Maine Potato Board. FAME does the loan underwriting and administration of all the loans. So we aren't involved in that side, but FAME handles that. And the advisory committee has been in place to advise the board on things that should be done or changes that should be made. And the last time the committee met, and you can imagine this is a program that's pretty basic. It's a loan program administered by FAME to potato growers. But the last time the committee met was in 2015, and they made 3 recommendations at that time. And that was to expand the program to allow for support structures, meaning a building supportive of a potato operation that isn't storage, value-added processing, and to change the interest rate so the interest rate was linked to the federal prime rate. And as of April of last year, we've accomplished those 3 things. So the committee really, by the nature of the program, wouldn't have or never has had a lot of activities. So we would support removing it from statute. And at the same time, the board, the potato board, would take and create a standing committee of our board to advise the board, such as we do on research and education and those sorts of things. So we would establish internally an advisory committee to perform the same functions, but it wouldn't be in statute. So therefore the reporting requirements and all of that sort of thing wouldn't be required. Because in all honesty, it'll probably be maybe another year, maybe another 2 years before the committee would meet again, just because of the nature of the program. So that is our support for the bill, and I'll gladly answer any questions anyone may have.
Thank you, Mr. Flannery. Do we have any questions for Mr. Flannery this morning? We appreciate your testimony, and we'll take it under consideration at our work session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have a couple of other people here. Let's start with Mr. Goodman from DECD. If we could please, Mr. Goodman, welcome to State and Local Government. If you could provide us with testimony, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Chair. Chair Matlack, distinguished members of the committee. My name is Ben Goodman, and I'm the legislative liaison at the Department of Economic and Community Development. I'm here to testify against LD 2002. Specifically, the department opposes the provision of this bill that would eliminate the Maine Film Commission. Maine's Film Office was established in 1987 to market Maine as a filming location. It's the state's official liaison between the film industry, state agencies, and production companies. The Film Office operates within the Department of Tourism, which is under the umbrella of our department. The Maine Film Commission was subsequently established to provide advice to the Film Office and help them conduct their work. The last regularly scheduled meeting of the Film Commission was scheduled for the early days of the pandemic, when social distancing requirements precluded meetings in person and the use of Zoom was not yet widely embraced. I've heard from the head of the Film Office that getting a quorum from her members was particularly difficult as they balanced their responsibilities at that time. Since that time, terms on the commission have lapsed and the commission has not met. The director of the Film Office has acknowledged the need to prioritize efforts to appoint members to the commission and quickly resume meeting. We respectfully ask that the committee remove the provision eliminating this commission to allow efforts to proceed to reestablish this important advisory body. Let me just clarify, though, or add, while we strongly oppose the elimination of the commission, should the committee proceed in doing so, we ask that you're very careful in making statutory changes. The Film Office budget is funded through the Maine Film Commission account. That's just how it was set up, and funding for the Film Office was set up. So should you decide again, we hope you don't, to eliminate the commission, please ensure that you don't inadvertently defund the main film office in doing so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goodman. Representative Toole, you have a question.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So I understand where you're coming from as far as elimination goes, but the last comments you made kind of tickled at my curiosity a little bit in that, so you're funded through the main film commission, and yet the commission itself hasn't met in about 2 years. Who's providing oversight of and directing those funds? Am I missing a link somewhere, I guess is my question.
No, thank you, Representative Toole. So my understanding is that this is just a matter of how the budget account was actually set up. Initially, the film office has always operated, from my understanding, under the Department of Tourism, but a number of years ago, for transparency and to ensure that the film office budget was essentially, the way it works is every year the Department of Tourism makes a transfer to the film office. The account that's used just happens to be called the Maine Film Commission. When they set up that account for the transfer years ago, whoever made the decision just decided that the existing Maine Film Commission account was in operation, and it would be easier, or again, I can't speak to their rationale, but that bucket is simply where the funds from the Department of Tourism go every year. So they just happen to have the same name. Again, we acknowledge that the Film Commission should have met and should continue to provide guidance and help guide the direction of the Maine Film Office. But this is really that provision that I mentioned and put in the written testimony is really just kind of an accounting thing. And we want to make sure that should this committee eliminate the commission, that it doesn't inadvertently eliminate the funding mechanism, or that it creates a new one, but that we don't inadvertently close the film office.
So, and thank you for that. So with that though, what are your plans for reconstituting the Film Commission?
Absolutely. So the head of the film office has met with the head of the Department of Tourism, Steve Lyons, very recently, to start talking about either bringing back lapsed members, finding new ones, but making it an urgent priority here to move them through the proper process for nomination and appointment. So I can't speak to the schedule that they've developed, but I can tell you that commitments have been made and they're working to do so expeditiously.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Toole. Any further questions? Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Goodman. I have 2 questions for you. One is, how much state money is in the budget for your organization for the Film Commission? And the second, well, let's do the first one first, and we'll do this.
For the committee we're discussing here today, is that what you're asking, Representative Reisman?
Yeah, we're talking about eliminating the Film Commission as one of the ones that are on the list. I was wondering how much state money is involved in that commission.
Thank you. Mr.
Actually, Representative, I don't have that direct answer for you, but I'll be happy to get that for you.
Well, I'd be interested in knowing that. The second was, I think in your testimony, you said you were opposed to the bill, but I think what you were opposed to is just that one specific piece. Is that correct?
That's correct, Representative. So if the commission would, or if the committee would simply amend removal of the Film Commission, we certainly don't stand for or against anything else in the bill, but we're specifically opposed to this particular provision.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you. Do we have any further questions for Mr. Goodman? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Goodman, for being with us this morning. Mr. Guild, is it Mr. Guild? Is that or am I mispronouncing your name?
Madam Chair, you're pronouncing it perfectly, which is one of the rare times this happens. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Madam Chair, and distinguished members of the committee. My name is Chris Guild. I'm here representing, I'm a member of the Combat Sports Authority of Maine. So once again, in opposition of this bill specifically with the commission. We've had a few years where we couldn't hold events, or I should say probably 18 months due to COVID, which led to a lack of inactivity, but we're back again. We had events, a couple events in November and in February, and looking at events in April. We are self-funding. We don't take any state funds, and we've been able to operate like that. But with us in existence, it allows, for some nice economic impact of the shows that we have in Maine, as we have the last show, I believe, the MMA show we had probably 6 or 8 fighters from out of state. Obviously, when they come up, that's room utilization and meals, and of course the ticket for the events themselves. So we're excited to be back. We've been doing Zoom meetings consistently for the past year. Looking forward to get back in person, but we are having in-person events now, and would love to be able to continue the Maine's rich history in boxing and combat sports. So.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any questions for Mr. Guile this morning? Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony, sir.
Thank you very
and
much.
we will take your testimony under advisement when we're working on our list.
Okay,
thank you. Casey Cole. Mr. Cole, if you could please introduce yourself to the committee and who you represent, and provide us with testimony, please. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Representative Matlack and the distinguished members. Pardon?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? You're picking up.
Yes, we
on my
can.
end.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Representative Matlack and distinguished members of the State and Local Government Committee. I'm Dr. Casey Cole. I'm president of the Maine Veterinary Medical Association, and I'm also the current chair of the Animal Welfare Advisory Council. I'm here today on behalf of the Maine Veterinary Medical Association, testifying against the inclusion of the Animal Welfare Advisory Council on this bill. The Animal Welfare Advisory Council has kind of had an unfortunate history of not getting appointments to the council through governor's offices. This started in the LePage administration. I was one of the last people to be appointed in 2017. At the beginning of the Mills administration, there was a delay in getting appointments to several councils and committees. I think there was just so many open slots that people were applying for. And then the pandemic hit. So understandably, we were delayed again on getting appointments. Several of us had applied several times, including veterinarians and people in other interested organizations. I finally got notice I was appointed along with the rest of the committee back at the end of last year. We had one meeting last year to establish rules for meeting remotely, and this year we are already at 2 meetings with a third scheduled March 16th at 1 p.m. You're all invited to attend if you have any interest. Right now, we have formed 2 subcommittees to try to speed things along and play catch up with everything that's been going on. One subcommittee is looking at trying to increase the number of animal control officers in the state of Maine, because we have a severe lack of them in certain areas. The other subcommittee has been formed to look into changing dog licensing to a 3-year license program to make it easier on towns and try to encourage people to license their dogs. In addition, we're looking into other funding opportunities for the animal welfare program. We also oversee and advise the rules and regulations of the agricultural commissioner on those rules. There's a few things I want the committee to look into now that we're active. So I would like the chance to actually run AWOC now that we've been appointed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. We appreciate your testimony. Are there any questions for Dr. Cole this morning? Seeing none, thank you very much for joining us today and for your testimony on this matter. You're welcome. Next, we have Tim Feely from the governor's office here to talk to us. Good morning, Mr. Feely, and welcome to State and Local Government. If you could introduce yourself and provide us with your testimony.
Sure. Good morning, Chair Matlack and members of the State and Local Government Committee. My name is Tim Feely. I'm Deputy Legal Counsel in the Office of the Governor. I am just popping in because this bill, as you know, got printed on Wednesday, and we're done our best to reach out across state government to any affected agencies for them to weigh in. And hopefully we've been able to reach everybody. I don't know that everybody has been able to do their due diligence and get back to this committee. So I just wanted to apologize if there are gaps in the response here, and that we're working for those you haven't heard from to find out if these are indeed boards and commissions that are no longer serving their purpose and are not active, or if they are just had an intermittent gap here. So I'll try and have more information for the work session. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Feely. You did send me a note with regard to this information last week. And you also mentioned that there might be additional dormant commissions or boards that you might like included in this bill. Will you be providing us with that list for work session?
We have asked departments to consider that along with this. Again, with the compressed timeline, we might be slowing that down a little bit. We don't want to do anything in a vacuum here that would not be appropriate. So I think for now we're going to pause that, collect that information, and maybe that'll be a next session issue that we can bring to you and have a discussion.
Thank you very much. Yes, state and local government discusses dormant boards and commissions every session, usually in the second year. So there'll be opportunity for this committee to discuss again, and we'll give time to whomever to determine whether or not there are other boards and commissions that need to be added to our list. Are there any further questions for Mr. Feely? Seeing none, thank you very much, sir, for your participation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So is there any information or materials that the committee would like for our work session? I'm hoping that we have a little bit longer so that some of the boards and commissions that have not reached out to us might reach out to us. So if we could have at least a week before our work session, that would be great. Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was going to suggest the same to Lynn, that we wait at least until next Monday to have the work session on this. I guess I would ask Lynn if she's heard from any folks that weren't able to attend today. I know she was going to reach out back when we were first talking about this bill so that everybody was aware, but if we could, the more information we could have for the work session, the better, in that respect.
Thank you. Lynn?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I did reach out a couple times in the last couple weeks, and I will bring in all the emails and other information that I've received and share it with you at the work session.
Great.
Thank you very much. Representative Bryant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Maybe Lynn or the clerk could help me, because I can't pull down off our committee LDs the testimonies for these 2 days, and maybe just send me a link or something so I can get there. Maybe I just don't have the technology in my head to make it.
If I may, Madam Chair, I actually think there's something wrong because I had that problem first thing this morning. So it's not operator error, and I will reach out to IT afterwards to make sure it's fixed, and then I'll reach out to you all to make sure you can get what you need.
Who are you missing? I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Cheryl, if you go through the committee page to the electronic LD file, it doesn't work, and that's an IT function.
Because I have all the testimonies here if you want me to send one to you, Representative Bryant.
Brian. Okay, okay,
I think
sir.
I think it'd be good to send everybody, because it's gonna hurt us this morning, not having a testimony to go and regurgitate publicly.
Mhm.
And I know we're gonna have the work session, but this is the time we needed it to see. So I think you should just send it out to everybody where you have it, and then if we go online, we can look at it also. But in case, well, it's current to us, everybody has it, we can also go back and get it afterwards. But it would be helpful if you have it, Cheryl, to just email it to everybody for now, and then we'll continue to, you'll come up in our work session, I'm sure, online by then, but we kind of need it now.
Yes.
There are
Thank you
12
very
of
much.
them.
Okay, great. That's, thank you very much. Yeah, because I looked and I didn't see it either.
And we're
That's a
talking
great
about
suggestion,
two,
Representative Bryant. Yeah,
we're talking about 2002, right?
correct. We're talking about 2002.
I'm also talking about 1975. That was the
Right.
one I was most concerned about.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
They're both available to me. I don't know why.
They're
And yet-
available to me through the legislature.
Okay,
I have everything through that. I have it on
Okay.
my iPad.
okay. All right, because I looked up the bills and I looked on the bills themselves, and I didn't see the testimony listed there. So, Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm hoping that we can find out how much taxpayer money is involved in each of the proposed committees that we are reviewing. Is that something we can do?
Yes, Linda's saying yes.
Thank you.
All right. Anything further on this bill this morning? Before we go anywhere, before we continue on, Representative Head, good morning. I saw you come in, and I regrettably, I have not asked you to introduce yourself since then. Could you please introduce yourself to us, please?
There, I think I finally unmuted it.
There you
My
go.
name is Frances Head. I represent District 117, 23 towns and townships in the district. I live in Bethel, Maine.
Thank you very much. And
I
good morning to you, ma'am.
Late.
Thank you. So if there's no other information necessary for our two public hearings, I'll declare our public hearings closed, and we will move along to a review. There are a couple of items that Lynn has for us to review this morning. Lynn, if you would like to walk us through it, the fiscal note review and a couple of other items.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the first thing I'm going to share with you, and I sent it electronically this morning, is the fiscal note for LD 1658 has been received. And most of what I'm going to walk you through this morning is just FYI. It doesn't require you to do anything, but that doesn't mean that you can't decide to do something. So LD 1658 is the Campaign Finance Transparency Bill and Accountability in Municipal Elections. The committee voted ought to pass as amended, I think 7, and ought not to pass 5 with 1 absent. And this bill, as you'll recall, required additional activities on the part of the municipalities and the Ethics Commission. So a fiscal note was, I think, expected from you all. So I'm gonna see if I can, of course, this is the wrong one. That's next on the list. So let me try this again. Okay, let me try this again. Hold on. Well, while I'm finding it, I'm going to talk you through it. The fiscal note for 2023, 2022 and 2023 is $1 million of general fund. It does identify a state, this as a state mandate. and I'm having a little bit of difficulty multitasking, so I'm going to pause for a second. I had this all queued up, but that doesn't always work.
Okay. And now she's gone. And now she's really gone. Okay, I'm sure she'll be right back. So yes, so this is the fiscal note for the Ethics Commission. I'm sure it's involves, I believe it involves staff and also computer configuration, but we'll see. We'll wait for Lynn to rejoin us.
Representative Copeland, you will need to call IT because my address for you is correct, so.
Thank you. I will.
Representative Reisman.
Well, while we're waiting, I was wondering maybe you could give us a preview of Wednesday.
Wednesday, we get to be partially, well, it's a hybrid meeting. On Wednesday, those who wish to participate in person may come to Augusta to the State and Local Government Committee and sit at the Horseshoe. There is a new system in place and so forth. So we're going to be there are a couple of little heads up about for those people who are going to be there about how it's going to happen. But I participated last Thursday in a taxation committee meeting, and to my way of thinking, except for a couple of little bits with regard to the committee clerk, reading off people who were voting on bills, it's going to be the same thing. So if I will be there, I believe Senator Baldacci will be there, Representative Toole will be there. If anybody else would like to participate in the meeting, they may join. Excuse me, my cat is reaching for my cup of coffee. They may participate in the meeting, or they can still choose to participate via Zoom from home. Representative Bryant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If the committee members are at home, can they see all the work that's being presented to them? Is it going to be up on the screen? I know, are they?
No.
You know, that's quite a deal. If the committee member is home and they can't see what's really going on in there, it may be scary. But tell me what I'm listening to.
Yeah, when I was participating, I had my laptop up on my desk, which meant that I could read whatever was being presented by the analyst because it's a little bit far away for me to see it. But what we had in the taxation committee, and I believe we're going to be having in state and local government, is a larger screen TV that will be like your laptop or your other screen that you'll be using, and we'll all be in the Hollywood Squares mode again. And it will just be that it will be on a large screen. And if you're watching via Zoom on your laptop, that will also be the same. The only difference is that there will be actual chat back and forth, perhaps, from the people that are in person. But again, you have to be on mic for anybody to hear you. And if you raise your hand and are called on, your testimony will be heard not only in the room, but also via Zoom. Lynn, did you have something?
I did, Madam Chair, and I hate to So taxation, because it was not a true experiment of the hybrid model. The hybrid model, they want the analysts to be in the committee room, which I will be on Wednesday, and there will not be screen sharing. I will not have my laptop. I won't be on a laptop.
Okay.
So true hybrid, I will send the materials to you ahead of time, as I always do, but I will not have the ability to screen share.
Oh, okay, my apologies. Yes, because Julie Jones was not in the room for taxation. She participated remotely. So that's why she could share on the screen. My apologies. So yes, we will have materials available for the work session. You will need to access those materials yourself, whether you print them off at home or whether you are able to read them on your own system. But Lynn won't be sharing on the laptop on Wednesday. Okay. Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I was going to remind folks in my group that we will indeed to print those materials off or do whatever you have to do so you have access to them. But the other question I know a couple of folks have asked about is masks. And from listening to Ledge Council, they haven't made a decision on changing the mask policy. So is it correct to assume that that still is what it has been, or
As far as I'm concerned, until Ledge Council makes a decision otherwise, we will be wearing masks in our committee room.
Okay, that sounds good. So,
all right, thank you. Should a decision be made, there will be a difference. But for until that decision is made, we will wear masks.
Okay,
thank you. Any further discussion about our hybrid meeting on Wednesday? There being none. Okay, Lynn Copeland. Representative Copeland, my apologies.
That's okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. So if people come there to testify in person, will there be a camera so that we can see them?
Yes. Lynn and Will are nodding their heads. Yes, we didn't have anybody testifying in person. And this is a work session also. Right. So it's not like today where people were coming to give us testimony. It will be people who have already participated. We've already heard the bills. The people that will be there are people who we want to chat with. So if they're in person, that's one thing, but generally, they can also participate via Zoom. There won't be public testimony per se on that day.
If they have anything that they want to present, like in paper or whatever, will they be required to submit it so that it can be emailed to us?
Yes. I'm not. Cheryl, go ahead, Cheryl. You can answer that question.
Yeah, if it's given to me during the meeting, then you folks in Zoom won't get it until after the meeting. If it's paper and it's given to me during the meeting, I will hand it out to the horseshoe, but I don't have time to make sure it gets on the testimony link. So, but that will be there after the meeting. Does that answer your question?
It answers it.
Yeah. We're working the bugs out. And I think that's why we're doing workshops so that we don't have people handing in paper at the last minute and being handed around, that we will have the materials ahead of time for the work session on Wednesday. And Wednesday is at 10 o'clock, correct? So yes, so there will be a bit of time in the morning to get materials. Anything further about Wednesday morning and that special meeting that we're having? Well, let's go back to language review. We can always chat again later. Lynn, LD 1658 and a fiscal note?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I don't know what happened, but I did lose you and you lost me. So I appreciate your patience. Are you seeing a fiscal note on your screen?
Yes.
All right. We have, so as I said, this is for the increased campaign finance and transparency. You were advised by the Ethics Commission that there would be an additional cost, and because this is increasing responsibility on municipalities, there is a it is a state mandate. That will mean that this bill will require, if it goes as it is currently drafted, it will require a 2/3 vote to be approved. And then because it has a fiscal note, it will go to the special appropriations table. So I'm just sharing that with you for informational purposes. So when it goes to the floor, there isn't a surprise for you all. Any questions on that part? Okay, so the next thing that I'm bringing to your attention is the language review for the LD 1932, which is 1936, which is the apportionment bill. So you saw a fairly easy to understand version of it when you had the work session. This is what the revisor's office creates. You'll recall that there were many changes that the Secretary of State's office recommended, with removing and then inserting these 15 unit numbers in a variety of places. And when that becomes a revisor bill, it looks like this. Not very easy to understand. I can tell you that I cross-checked everything, which is not, revisor's office never makes mistakes on this, but I did it anyways. The second portion of the bill is the Franklin County. And so you'll see that here, where this is creating 3 districts until November of 2024, and then 5 districts thereafter. And that is all the language from the bill that you passed out of this committee at the beginning of this session. And then these 2 portions here were line 30 and 34. Those are the ones that fix the dates for Saginaw County. The county commissioner districts, you'll recall the numbers were swapped. And so that is the LD 1936. It is not headed to the floor yet because we need to wait until 1832, which is Saginaw. That needs to pass the House and the Senate, be signed by the governor, and get a chapter number. So I can put a chapter number in 1936, and then that will move to the floor. So it will probably be a few weeks before you see 1936 heading to the floor. But it is making its way. And then the only other, any questions on that? Okay, I think the only other thing I had on the agenda was to update the committee. You'll recall that you had approved a request to the legislature for a joint order, so you could report out a bill to update the Government Evaluation Act. That has taken quite a while to make its way through the legislature. So an alternative approach was discussed by the leads and chairs. And so I'm sharing that with you. You have a bill, LD 408. It's a placeholder bill. Its title is an act to amend the laws regarding the operation of the legislature. So this was a concept draft. It has no language. And as I said, it's a placeholder bill. The chairs and leads propose that that bill be amended to address updating the Government Evaluation Act. And that will mean that the committee can schedule a public hearing for that bill, which is very, very technical in nature, a public hearing for that next week, as opposed to having to wait until next Wednesday for action by the legislature, and then it would be several weeks before, if we go the route of the joint order, which was the original plan, it would be several weeks before we can have a public hearing. This way allows the committee to have a public hearing and move this bill in the near future. So I'm just filling you in on that. And you will see LD 408, and I will share with the public the language for updating the GEA so that at the public hearing, you will hear testimony on the committee amendment next week.
Next week, okay.
Yes.
All
I
right.
believe that's all I have on my agenda to fill you in on this week.
Thank you. Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the other thing I think folks should be aware of is we have got supplemental budget and we are meeting with appropriations. I believe it's next week, is it? And
A week from today?
A week from today. So, and do we have any indication whether that's going to be hybrid or by Zoom?
I haven't heard about anything going forward. Have you, Lynn?
I have not. And I know the criteria that they were using to pick hybrid was generally a committee that was well ahead of schedule. So if they're using the same criteria, I'm not sure. Well, that's the criteria they used to pick us.
I should also mention that as to the best of my knowledge, all appropriations AFA committee meetings are via Zoom. They are not hybrid or in person. So I'm assuming that on Monday, I believe it's Monday afternoon, when we meet with AFA, that we will be meeting via Zoom.
Okay. And one other thing with that, I confess I walked a bill over to the revisor's office from Senator Moore the other day. So, and it looks like it would be a bill coming to us, changing a municipal boundary line. So we may yet still be getting a couple more bills on top of the ones we had planned on.
I'm going to have a chat with Senator Moore.
You could blame the presiding officers for this because they all let it in. And
okay,
that's all in good fun, of course.
Okay. Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm a little confused. Theoretically, next Monday, we're going to meet with approps and make recommendations on our portion of the supplemental budget.
We're not making recommendations. We're hearing testimony from the various departments with regard to their portions of the budget,
okay,
as we have in the past. Following that, we will have a work session or another meeting in which we will have discussions about what we heard, and at that point, we will be able to make recommendations.
Okay.
So it won't be all on Monday. It will be shortly after Monday, because there's a very short timeline for getting all the testimony with regard to the bill, the appropriations bill in, but it won't be on Monday.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. And Representative Bryant.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make sure that we do recognize how much work, our analysts, our co-chairs, and our clerk are doing it. It's tough as we are on them, and we ask a lot of them. And this is a really bad time. So I want to make sure we just come back around and every once in a while just say that thank you.
Oh, thank you. This has been a very interesting time. And I greatly appreciate everything Lynn and Cheryl do for our committee. I mean, they're just always there to help us out. Anything further? Representative Reisman, you had a question about a bill last time, and I wanted to, you sent me a note with regard to that. Could you speak to it a little bit? I think Lynn had answered the question to me, but I wanted her to answer the question for you too.
Well, I had a question about how this had to do with the ranked choice voting on a municipal level. And my question was how that might affect a referendum vote if there were 3 choices on a referendum. And so that was the basis.
Can I ask why there would be 3 choices on a referendum question?
Well, let's say, as an example, a town is deciding whether they want to vote to put up a new building. And the cost of the building could vary between 1 million and 3 million. So choices could be for 3 million, you get this, for 2 million, you get that, for 1 million, you get another alternative. And the voters could have the opportunity to vote for any of the 3. So ranked choice voting would provide the result in the referendum.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
So you did ask me that question and I shared an answer and I have received email back and forth about exactly what Representative Reisman described. My understanding of a referendum under the statute is it's a yes or no question. And that if it's multiple choice, it's multiple referendum. However, there apparently are instances where municipalities have a referendum question that has option A, B, and C. And hence the idea that ranked choice could be an option for referendum questions. I'll share that the bill LD 859 is going to be brought to you on Wednesday for language review. You had voted, I think it was a divided report, to allow for ranked choice voting, different methods in election of municipal officers by secret ballot. So the bill will be coming for language review on Wednesday. And I can do a little bit more research on whether the referendum multiple choice is really is appropriate or would be possible to have a ranked choice should the committee decide to reconsider the bill at that time.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer your question, Representative Reisman?
It does. I realize it's a pretty remote chance of that happening, but what if it does?
Okay, thank you. Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would add that I have seen it happen in a municipality before with a firework ordinance where the selectmen have approved to have a referendum and given residents 3 or 4 different options for ways to proceed with it. So it can indeed happen. So not to muddy the waters, but I have seen it happen.
Okay, thank you very much. Representative Bryant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do apologize to the leads because I know that, look at poor Kim and Rep Toole have been also in the engagements. I mentioned the co-chairs, but in my era, I did mention the leads on both Senate and House because it takes all of us to make one committee. So thank you. My apologies.
Yes, thank you.
And Representative Toole and Kimberly Rosen, Representative Rosen have been great partners in helping to make this committee run as smoothly as it does. So I really appreciate their help and their input whenever we meet. So do we have anything further that we need to discuss this morning? There being none, I will see a couple of you in person on Wednesday in Augusta. The others I will see on Zoom. So take care and we'll chat soon. Thanks, bye.